Let's bring in a Hardball Roundtable. Susan Del Percio is a Republican strategist. Zarlena Maxwell is director of progressive programming for Sirius XM. And Nan Hayworth, who sits on the board of directors at the Independent Women's Forum, is a former Republican congresswoman from New York. So I always go to elected power first, Congresswoman.
Oh, no. Our power is from the people,
what do you think when you watch Donald Trump? Yeah. Is he talking the language of his voters or of his mind?
Well, I look at the president and, Susan has a former colleague, Bill O'Reilly, not the TV host, who wrote a great piece about the president last year in which he quoted an Italian saying, watch the hands, not the mouth. So what I watch with the president is how he has acted as chief executive to do things that are salutary for the country and the world. And he's putting Americans back to work. We have a growing economy. People's retirement funds are growing. People have more money in their pockets. And he has also expressed, rightly so, the view, and just in that interview, and he has put in place the administrative mechanisms to make sure that the EPA is actually fulfilling its mission of compliance across the country.
Zarlena? I don't see him as an environmentalist. I see a guy who's laughed at the Paris Accords. He's basically gone against the world.
Right.
I think he said nice things about clean water and all that, but he doesn't do it. His hands are not working for environmental protection.
No, absolutely not. But that's because he doesn't really understand the underlying policy. This is true of environmental policy. It's also true of foreign policy and domestic policy.
You don't think he understands, or he just doesn't agree with liberal positions?
I don't think he understands. I think we give him too much credit when we presume that he understands the underlying policy.
Well, his tweet on weather, I think, is what you're referring to.
Because he's basically in line with a lot of Republicans that say, well, if it's cold out, then there's no climate change, or if it's hot out, then there's no climate change. But scientists like Nan know that the scientific data does not support that conclusion, and that belying the idea that climate change is a problem and that we should deal with it because of the mudslides and the wildfires and the increasingly strong storms that we're seeing, it's actually really dangerous. It's a national security threat for the president not to understand that underlying policy.
Here's my question. I do think Trump knows what he's doing. He's a smart politician. But I don't believe a big city liver like him, and he's a Manhattanite now for the last X many years, he doesn't believe in everybody walking around the streets of Manhattan with a gun. He doesn't believe in Second Amendment for every kid walking down from the neighborhoods. He doesn't believe in that. So why does he say it?
Because he likes...
Why does he say we're safer with everybody having a gun when he knows New York could be like Dodge City if everybody had a gun?
Because he's got to play to... He constantly plays to his base. He finds it easier. His safe retreat is to 35 to 37% of the country. That's where he goes. But
he's not one of them.
He may not be.
He's not one of that 37%.
Of course, he was a Democrat for how many years? So that doesn't. He would not qualify to be in his own base, actually, based on his whole history. But so he does these things. These interviews, when they're unscripted, are very dangerous for this president. He's not prepared to talk about a lot of issues.
Okay, let's talk about why he gets in fights.
But he's prepared to act.
I mean, I get in fights, but look at this. President Trump also went off script this weekend after rapper and businessman Jay-Z told CNN that the president's recent touting of the black unemployment rate was missing the whole point and that it doesn't make up for his treatment of the black community. Trump responded on Twitter writing, "Somebody please inform Jay-Z that because of my policies, black unemployment has just been reported to be at the lowest rate ever recorded." Why? He's like Sinatra in that way. You go into a bathroom, somebody gives you a little rap. He wants to fight with a guy. He will fight with anybody.
Well,
why?
Because...
Does it raise his stature?
No, the president is making the very important point that he cares about putting Americans back to work no matter where they live, what their zip code, what the color of their skin. And it is absolutely true. It is a fact. Thank God. African-American unemployment is at record lows. And that would not have happened had the president not passed the signed into law the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, and had he not initiated
the tax cut, a couple of weeks ago, are you saying in a couple of weeks it has cut the unemployment rate among African Americans in 2 weeks?
GDP has
no, that wouldn't work.
GDP tripled basically after the president got into office. And that is helping every American.
Look, the downward trend on black unemployment had begun in 2010 in earnest, and so it has not the result of Donald Trump's policies. Beyond that, the black unemployment rate is still double the white unemployment rate. So the idea that we should be celebrating it and should be, as black people, we should be grateful to this president, even though we're at double the rate, is ridiculous.
But again,
I'm sorry.
The president doesn't say we don't need to do better.
The president likes to play in pop culture. It's much easier for him to take on Jay-Z than answer a question on climate change.
And he didn't attack Eminem, who was a white rapper.
Meanwhile, he's growing the economy and putting America back to work.
With us. It's hard to keep up. You're watching Hardball. Thank you.